Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a very pleasant night to you in my pack, and welcome back once more to Vega Conflict, better known as the game with the bugs in space. I want to round the month off by just going over the last few vessels that I didn't talk about for Tier 15, and more or less end it there. Might make another video after this, just have to wait and see. But for now, no editing or anything like that, we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start with the vessel from last month, well, one of the three, the Divergent. Coming in with a base 2-hour repair time, it's not that bad, not that good, it's what we expect at this point. Effective range 2,000 to 7,000 meters is right in the sweet spot. Gives you a 5,000 meter effective range and allows you to use other weapons on the Divergent in comparison to something like, say, the Assault for them and the Assault for them. Now theirs is the worst of them at 3,000 to 7,000. But it is what it is. I complained about it even in the video for it. But yeah. 200,000 hit points means they can take a little bit of a hit without having any shielding or anything like that, but never rely on it because, well, it's the softest of all the vessels because 400,000, 300,000, 200, it'll die if you leave it alone. Weighing in at 18,000 tons, it's neither here nor there in regards of weight because the Juggernaut is heavier and the Interceptor is lighter, but the Interceptor arguably can use the Divergent's weapons better than it can because it can guide them right up until the moment of impact. Cargo space, 3,500,000 tons, which is pretty much right in the middle of the ballpark, unless you look at the Valiant. The Valiant's the one that's got more this time around. So, cargo haulers could be Valiants if that's what you're into, if you don't already have a freighter, a suspicious freighter. And as for mobility, you're looking at 450 meters per second forward speed, 35 degrees of rotation, 500 meters per second strafe, so it is capable of strafing faster than it is moving forward, similar to the Stinger? No. Okay, so it can just move faster, so it's similar to this one. All of them, okay. Reverse speed of 230 meters per second means that it is the slowest out of them all, surprisingly. Interesting. And then you have your standard 600 astronomical units per hour of in-sector speed that basically every ship has. Modifier-wise, it says bonus DPS of 1. Don't know what that means because there's no further explanation than that. Then you have your classic Spectre, Retrocider, Retrosyn, damage increase of 400%, and then 50% increased damage against the Blood Rebellion, and just like everything else, 100% damage increase against modules. Resurgence of 70% at Mark 1 means that if you get hit by someone else or you hit someone else, 70% of the damage you take will be automatically erased at the end of the fight. Whoever loses will be sent back to the base, but they won't go back with a fully destroyed fleet. Resistance-wise, you're looking at 100% Altarian, Umbral, Pharmacon, Spectre, Retrocider, Retrosyn, and 50% against the Vega Alliance. 100% Void resistance, so Marauders are completely useless against this faction. You have 10% munition resistance, and 50% Blight Essence resistance, which is their weapons. And a 100% Blight Nebula resistance. Always love seeing that one. Now, as for the Defiler, same repair time, 2 hours, and you have an effective range of 0 to 4,000 meters per meters, 300,000 hit points, 17,000 tons, cargo of 3,500,000 tons, a forward speed of 700 meters per second, and a rotation of 50 degrees per second, and a strafe speed of 250 meters per second. Reverse speed of 100 meters per second, and a in-sector speed that you already expect of only 600 astronomical units per hour. Modifiers-wise, we'll take a look at the infected aggression first. So, as they're dealing damage or being attacked, they charge at 5%, 10% combined, and when they're fully charged, well, not fully charged up, okay, trigger threshold, 90%, you'll enter a state where you get to do 10% more damage versus hit points, and it'll increase the forward speed and the acceleration of the vessel by 15%. So you get a little bit more damage and you get faster. Not bad if you ask me. Then you have your standard damage increase 400% against Spectre, Retrocider, Retrosyn, and 50% against Blood Rebellion. And again, 100% increased module damage, 70% resurgence. As I just explained, you take damage, you get the damage back at the end of the fight. Well, a portion of it. Resistance-wise, as always, it's Altarian, Umbral, Pharmacon, Spectre, Retrocider, Retrosyn, and 50% Vega Alliance. 100% Void, 50% Radiation Resistance, which is the damage type that they use, and 10% Essence Resistance, which is the faction they're meant to counter. Last but not least, the Valient. With a 2-hour base repair time, it is neither here nor there, just like the others. It's a tank. At least the repair time makes sense on it. An effective range of 0 to 5,000 meters. It is the exact same as the others, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So unlike with the other factions where they have the differing minimum range values on their assaults, their juggernauts are the same. Health-wise as well, at 400,000 hit points, it can take a bit of a hit, but again, without shielding or any type of defense, that health will go quickly, so try and play around with your deflectors to try and avoid dying too easily and soaking up too much damage. And it is 19,000 tons, so pretty much the exact same as everything else. The only notable thing about it is the 3,750,000 tons of free cargo space. Again, don't know why they did that for it and only it, but can't complain because it's a little bit of extra cargo you get to bring back to stuff in your base as well as pay for repairs. And then you have its mobility. It's capable of moving at 560 meters per second forward. It can turn at 35 degrees per second, and it's capable of strafing at only 230 meters per second, and its reverse speed is pretty much non-existent at only 100 meters per second. Astronomical units per hour, it is 600 just like everything else until it hits elite, and then it goes up to 720 if I'm not mistaken. Valiant defense. More defense-minded, the Valiant Juggernaut always has an ace up its sleeve. If its deflectors are brought down, it will immediately fire off a pulse, dealing damage to enemy vessels caught within range. You do not want to be losing your deflectors on any of these ships because then you're going to take a lot more damage than is necessary. So whenever you see something like this, it's pretty much useless because you don't want that to happen in the first place. And if it does happen, well, something's gone horrifically wrong and you're probably getting your butt handed to you in space by whatever is out there. It could be these guys, could be these guys, could be one of these, or any number of other things down here, just handing this poor thing its butt. And now you have the damage increase of 400% against Spectre, Retrocider, and Retrosyn, just like everyone else. 50% increase against Blood Rebellion, and a 100% damage increase against modules. And once again, you have 70% Resurgence, which is just a sweet thing to have on all of Tier 15 at this point, because if you don't want to fight, well, you get your hit points back. If you do want to fight, well, you get to keep fighting after you keep winning, or if you take a loss because you bit off more than you could chew, you get to go back to your base and then relaunch your fleet again with 70% health instead. And finally, we have the resistances. Altarian Resistance, Umbral, Pharmacon, Spectre, Retrocider, Retrosyn of 100%, Vega Alliance of 50%, Void Resistance of 100%, because everybody hates the Marauders apparently, so why do they need to be allowed to do damage? Which is kind of lame, because Marauders are one of the cooler factions. Totally not biased because they're purple and I love purple. Naturally, they have 50% resistance against their own damage type, which is munitions, and 10% against radiation, because, again, that's the faction they're meant to counter. Blue counters red, red counters green, green counters blue. That's how this entire system is supposed to work, but to begin with, it wasn't too balanced. And blue was kind of kicking everyone in the face. While green was the absolute farming faction, because they just had this giant pool of hit points. And if you could take an enemy out before you lose the tiny shieldings they had to begin with, now they have ablative. It's just insane how easily they can farm for low to no damage. And, of course, you have the Blight Nebula resistance tucked away down there all the way at the bottom. Because why not? Okay, and because we have an event starting tomorrow, I can go over some of the weapons. Actually, we got tokens in here. Alright, so this is definitely an event you don't want to miss out on, so if anyone is falling behind and you actually have some time, try and get some of the tokens, I guess. Those prices are insane, no? Ugh. Definitely gonna head to bed after this. Maybe. 24-hour module upgrade. Definitely overpriced compared to... Never mind, not overpriced. Underpriced. So decent price for it compared to everything else, but everything else is, again, a little bit on the high-end side. And as for mods, we have new ones for the Long Strike, we have new ones for the Pestilent, and we have new ones for my favorite vessel, the Stinger, so far. Ooh, boost their ablative. 1,250. That's not a whole lot compared to what they get by default. Deflector damage, alright, so you get to kick around the faction that's supposed to be countering you. Actually, no. I might have that wrong. Don't take that with a grain of salt. Ignore the fact I might be wrong about that. Got the new biomechanical stuff. Okay, yeah, they are supposed to counter the blue ones, because why else would they have such a high resistance against the Vega? But I only wanted to cover the ships. I wasn't going to really cover the tech or anything like that, so I think I'll save going over the new tech and stuff like that for the event on, well, tomorrow. Actually, it's later today. What am I saying? My tired mind is going places where it doesn't need to be going, apparently. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here, because I'm going to take care of some other stuff. Probably record a little bit more of something else, or just head to bed. But either way, thank you for joining me in this rambling, whatever this video can be called, because it was just covering vessels and rambling a little bit about some older stuff, how stuff works, how some stuff might be wrong, calling the game a buggy mess, because, I mean, come on. At this point, we might as well just have bugs on the planets. We just get to stare at them when we're in our bases. But, yeah. Thanks for joining me again, as always, everybody. I'll plan on the next video for either the second or third when it comes to Vega. Possibly the first, just depends on how quick I get stuff recorded from the time that I start playing the event. It'll most likely be gameplay. Yeah, I'll stop talking your ear off now, so be safe out there, happy hunting, and as always, I'll see you later.